Welcome to the flowerschool.com video library. I'm Leanne Kessler, Director of the Floral Design Institute, here to share with you our latest segment on flowers from the farmer's market. Summertime is one of my favorite times of the year, and there's so many fabulous flowers here in the Pacific Northwest. My Saturday mornings start bright and early with a dash down to the market to see what flowers are in season at the moment and to bring them home and play with flowers. Yes, a busman's holiday. Even on the weekend, I go and gather and play with flowers. As I choose my flowers, I try to think wisely, gathering the things that are not going to have a problem being out of water first, so any produce that I might want, and then going back and grabbing my flowers so that they're out of water for just a little tiny bit of time. In the hottest days of summer, I actually keep a bucket of water in my car so that when I come back, I just set them in. Don't worry about cutting them or anything, but at least they're in water for the moment. Then when I get home, I really do the full processing. Now this time it wasn't super hot, so I just left them all wrapped and bundled. So now that I get them home, I want to take them out. Let them breathe as quickly as possible. You don't want to leave them wrapped up for too long, because the longer they're wrapped, the more that the ethylene and heat can build up inside and shorten their lives. Then I go through and unbundle them. And yes, I just bought bundles at the market so that I could use the mixed blooms and have a nice variety. Cutting it open, and then, yes, I use a cutting tub. It's filled with warm water. Holding bucket, also filled with warm water, flower food in the holding bucket, and I go through with each blossom, remove any damaged foliage. This one doesn't have any, it's just a perfect peony, and then cut it under water, set it over into the bucket. Acamella or lady's mantle, just a little bit needs to be removed, cut under water. This allows them to fully hydrate. Love, love, love spirea. It's so woody, it actually does better if I just snap it. And then sometimes I'll whittle a little bit on the end and then set it in. And a little bit of time spent prepping the materials ahead of time like this will make the bouquet last so much longer as I arrange it for the house. Viburnum, also woody. You can break it and tear, but whittling helps quite a bit. And I just go through and do this to every blossom, removing the damaged foliage. Veronica is just gorgeous, coming up in the lovely lavender. Give it a cut, drop it, and just keep repeating until I get it done. This is mint. Oh, how fabulous. And to be honest, when I gather flowers, I go through and I gather those, but then I stop and I go back and I look at the vegetable stands as well. And I get more mint because I love the mint. And I like to mix it in. When I work with it, just remove the lower, save it. You can use it in cooking, add it to your salads, make a mojito. But then let it drink, just like you do everything else. And this time, found another little treasure. Garlic spears. Are these two fun? Look how they spiral around. Had to have them. Don't know what we're going to do with them, but we're going to use them today. And again, just give it a cut, set it in with your flowers, and let it hydrate. The flowers will do best if I let them sit for an hour before I go ahead and work with them. So we're going to let them just sit there, and while they're waiting, I'll prep my container. In the summertime, I like to use different types of containers, and this one is actually a salad bowl from the kitchen. Yes, you don't have to have vases. You can use anything to hold your flowers. And when I go to the farmer's market and gather things, I almost feel like I'm a cook, but with flowers. So what better thing to use than from the kitchen, the salad bowl. Don't want foam because it would show. I don't want to have that in there. I want just natural stems in the water. But it's so shallow and wide that they're not going to set up well. So I'm going to create a grid using the waterproof tape in clear. That'll hold everything in place perfectly. So I just take and tape from one side over to the other, give it a cut, and repeat that several times. And then again, going the opposite direction, creating a checkerboard across the top. I ended up doing 3 one direction, 4 the other direction. Really doesn't matter as long as you get it stable. So you just kind of guesstimate what you think will work for yourself. You can even go back and say, I wish I had one more here. Add it. It's not a science, it's an art. So there's always little variables. Then to make sure that it won't come apart, wrap around the edge, right over the top of all those ends. Then when you're finished, chew up the end so that you don't have the problem of hunting for it later. Find where the start was, because that's got the extra end, cut it off. And then take a moment, really press down all the way around, making sure that it's secure. And then go back, and you're ready to add water. To begin, I'm going to use the mint and create a wonderful nest to support all the flowers. Now the lower pieces that might end up underneath in the water, remove them so that it doesn't get messy down there. Again, save it. You can use it for something else. Then give it a cut and then set it in place. Starting on the outer edges, because that'll help break the line of the container. Get that one out of there. There we go. And begin the weave that'll support all your flowers. So you can just bring it around, setting it in. Working my way around the container. Moving and saving. It's like a fragrant paradise. Then after I get that first tier begun, I can go back, adding a few more a little higher, bringing it in towards the center. And then this lovely, lovely minty green goes so well with the yellow green from the lady's mantle or acamella. So if I go back and do the same thing, starting on the outer edges first. You can see the contrast in greens is so fabulous. Radiating around. And every time I place one of these stems in, it's creating a stronger nest to support my flowers later. Coming back towards the center now. Then here in the Pacific Northwest, I find that many of the farmers, when they bring their bouquets in, they tuck in what I would classify as a weed. But it's so pretty. And the weed in this one was mustard. And it just grows out in the fields. Nobody plants it. And it sheds a bit. You can see sometimes it'll shed. But it adds that little touch of yellow that's so fun. Just kind of pull it down, set it into place. Adds a little zing of color throughout. And then keep adding until I use it up. Then go back. If I want a little more mint, thinking about where I might need some more of the mint green, maybe a little more of the lady's mantle, and fill it in until you run out. And that's when you know you're done. Then I begin the flowers. And it just starts filling in because I've got a wonderful nest to build into. First, I'm going to use my viburnum. And viburnum is an interesting bloom in that we call it snowball. And it is, just like it's snowing. You can shake it, and you can see it just starts to fall. It actually dries and looks kind of fun. So when I bring it home, I shake it to get the worst off. Then I design, and then I can watch as it snows around the bowl. And I just leave it. I think it's kind of fun and makes me think of snow time in the summertime. So We'll shake to get most of it off, but then I just give it a cut and tuck it down into place, adding a little bit of bulk and beauty to the design. And bring it into the opposite side. I want to make sure I have a little bit of it everywhere because it adds such beautiful color, vibrancy, texture, everything I want. Give it a turn so you can see this side. Then going back with the spirea, letting it come out. The common name for the spirea is bridal veil, and it is such a gorgeous spring blossom. Feeding it down. Removing anything that'll go into the water. I want to keep just bare stems down there. And turning it. And once again turning it to make sure I'm balanced and thorough all the way around. By starting with all of the more casual, almost country blossoms, it creates a beautiful nest, and I could stop here. And it's stunning. But the peonies are so pretty, and they're so big and heavy that if I started with those, it wouldn't have worked very well. But now that I have a great supporting nest and grid started, I can take these, cut them down, and then just set them on top of everything else. And it adds instant color, instant excitement, expanded and most fabulous beauty. And I just go back and forth, adding different colors. I've got some coral, I've got some pink, and even some of the more variegated, roughly soft pink. I call this one cotton candy pink because it's got the fragrance and it's a sweet, sweet, sweet pink. And then last, those few stems of Veronica. They're linear, so it's a little different. So I'm going to group them together and place them down through the center. Just to add a little bit of height, coming right in to contradict all the round flowing forms that I started with. Now that I've finished the bouquet, I want to add just a little touch of my own. When I garden, I always have weeds. Do you have weeds? And so oftentimes in my arrangements, I like to add a little weed. It's a touch of whimsy, something kind of fun. And my weed is going to be the garlic spear. So I'm just going to give it a cut and place it down in, letting it kind of wind out. So you go, what is that? Because it is sort of funny and silly the way it curls out there. Maybe another one. Just give it a cut. Let it weave through. Make sure it gets down into the water. And again, it just sits there. It's not really a focal point. It's tucked down low so that many times people won't even notice until they're up and looking at your flowers and going, oh, what is that? That's kind of strange. And then you can giggle. And the rest of them, they're going to go home. Hopefully David has been shopping for food at the market while I've been shopping for flowers at the market. And I'll let him have these for cooking. And so as we have guests, I can say, well, it's just part of your dinner. The rest of it is on your plate. For more creative inspiration, check out our website at flowerschool.com. If you've got questions, don't hesitate to contact us. You can reach us by telephone at 1-800-819-8089. Or if email is easier, use my personal email at Leanne, Leanne, at floraldesigninstitute.com. For now, happy summertime. Head off to the market, have fun, and do something you love.